Welcome everybody out to our essential oil spotlight. Tonight we are talking about Zendocrine Detoxification Blend, and this blend is the same name in all the countries. Sometimes they change the name of the blend from country to country, but tonight Zendocrine, it's the same here. So Jade's gonna present to us. I'm thankful to have Jade here. For those of you who are just listening, please go to jadebaldwin.com/Zendocrine. You can get to it if you just go to the jadebaldwin.com, where she has all the notes and everything for you to follow along. So turn the time over to Jade.
Thanks, Ben. And welcome everyone, and welcome to our Facebook Live people and the people that are listening to our podcast. We're so grateful to have this opportunity to share with you information about it's just a continuing education, something to help you just be more empowered. So that's the exciting part about this. So Zendocrine is a blend, and it is amazing for kidneys, gallbladder, liver. It's a heavy metal detoxification, for constipation, urinary tract, weight loss, gut support, endocrine system, the hormone balancing, and then emotionally it's about vitality and transition. So before we go any further, we have a few people on the call tonight. Just want to ask you guys what your experiences are with Zendocrine. Anybody want to share?
I've never used it.
No? Okay. Anybody else?
I've done the cleanse a couple times and thoroughly enjoyed every part of it.
Yep. Fantastic.
I'm actually going to start again tomorrow. So this call is perfect.
Okay, fantastic. Good for you. I'm glad
I think
you enjoyed
that's most people's experience with it is through the cleanse.
Yep.
That's definitely how I use it the most. So we're going to learn a few other things today.
Yeah. I actually use it all the time. It's amazing. I think just to prevent things from happening, just to keep things clean. And I think it's part of my weight management as well. So I use it for that. But I think about 4 years ago, oopsie, there's somebody drawing on it. About 4 years ago, my dad, he had a huge kidney stone, a 10 millimeter stone that was sitting in the wrong spot. And he was, when he tries to urinate, he bled. And it was very painful, and the doctor asked him to go to the hospital because when they did the ultrasound, they said, this is bad, go to the hospital. And he's kind of a stubborn guy. And he said, hey, help me. And I thought, oh, Dad, please. There's times when you do have to go to the doctors or the hospital. And he said, no. So I said, okay, well, I'll do what I can for now to help your body balance. So we did a little shot glass, and we did maybe a fifth of it with Zendocrine oil. So just the different oils that are in here. Even at that time, they had clove in there. So they switched out the recipe a little bit. But we did this, rosemary and geranium and stuff. And I gave him a bit of extra olive oil in there. So we did that about 4 or 5 times throughout the day. And we rubbed it on his kidneys and gave him lots of water, lots of, just massages and, so he can rest and sleep and just be more comfortable. I gave him the aromatouch massage as well. He just couldn't sleep, but he finally did fall asleep just a little bit. And then we gave him the oils again. And then when he woke up, he went to the bathroom and he was able to urinate. And then I think it was almost 40 hours later, he heard a kerplink in the water, in the bowl of the toilet. And he looked in there and there was a little stone. So we just kept on doing the same things for the whole week. And he just kept passing these little teeny tiny stones. And at the end of the week, we did another ultrasound, and the 10 millimeter stone, it disappeared. And in there, we had just about, I think, 6 or 7 1 millimeter stones left. So evidently it had broken up, and it was like dissolving or something, but he'd passed it. and it was just the 40 hours of misery. And then he had lots of relief after that. His body kind of knew what it was doing. But I didn't stop there. Of course, you know me. I have to do everything on an emotional level too. So I sat with him while he was, just being uncomfortable. And what else does he do, right? He was just sitting there and talking. And I talked to him about his kidneys and what kidneys was about and what his current situation was and how he needed to let go of that bitterness, that resentment. And it was, I said, recently you just quit working with my brother, and they had a business together, and he had all this resentment. And I said, okay, let's talk about all this resentment, where it came from. Can you see the correlation between you and your father and how your father treated you? So you're doing the same thing to your son. And so he kind of admitted all that, and he agreed that he needed to change, because I said, if you don't, this is not going to resolve itself permanently. So it was good. And he worked on that emotionally, and then his physical body changed along with it. And I feel that anytime you can work on an emotional level, it just hurries the healing along and just makes it so much easier to heal. That was our experience with the Zendocrine. Okay, so Zendocrine is the detoxification blend, right? So anytime you heal with Mother Nature's pure, potent essential oils, you're just going to heal and detoxify on all levels. Whether you're aware or not, you will be. So this blend will help you just cleanse out all sorts of toxic things in your life. So it could be, physically cleaning out your pipes or the filtering organs in your body. And it will probably help you physically declutter as well. So when people are on the cleanse, I don't know if you guys notice, but I notice that some people, they'll come to me and they'll say, oh, I just cleaned out my house and I threw out all these things and this many boxes of stuff. And I'm thinking, wow, look, they're physically decluttering as well. And I don't really notice that. But I've seen, and people say, hey, Jade, I see the floors in my house now. I'm thinking, wow.
What we experienced this last week, we had a friend who was doing the cleanse, and she got rid of a bad relationship.
Yes, that's right.
Decluttering all sorts of things.
And that's what the next thing was too, is you start to detox relationships, people who have been sucking out your energy and just draining you for so long, and you've endured and you've let them. It just happens that something will happen that they leave your life. And it's been amazing and very liberating, you guys, just to go through this change. So I want to turn the time over to you guys. Have you experienced any of that? Any of the cleansing on all those levels? Or any of those levels?
Without even knowing it, I always tend to declutter my house when I'm on a cleanse.
Yeah, it's interesting, huh? You don't realize you're doing it, but you do. Yeah. And so are you ready for another spring clean, Stephanie?
I am, yes, absolutely.
So it's going to be fantastic.
And sometimes it might be a cleanse in the terms of, getting rid of to-do lists or knocking out old projects or, just
finishing things up.
Tying up loose ends.
Yeah.
That's always a fresh thing. So it's just funny that kind of works.
It may seem like it's unrelated, but really sometimes you look at it, it's all kind of happening at the same time. So you are physically and emotionally and spiritually cleansing. Alrighty. So Zendocrine comes in 3 forms. There's the Zendocrine Detoxification Blend, the oil blend, and then you have the soft gel, and the complex, which is like a herbal complex.
Which is not oils at all.
Not oils.
Just herbs.
Yeah, and there's something completely different, but the idea is that it does detoxify you. feedback there. Alrighty. So let's go. Alrighty. So I just want to go through each of the ingredients here. So the rosemary in the Zendocrine, it's a very strong antioxidant, and it helps support the endocrine system. And you know, endocrine problems can be like diabetes or other problems like chronic fatigue and gut problems. Okay, and we'll list out a few more in a minute. Cilantro is in there. So if you don't like cilantro, you might, you know, taste it and smell it, and it might come up, you know, when you burp. But it's very important to have cilantro. So it's great for circulation. It's great for cleansing debris in your body, especially in your organs. And it's very effective chelating agent, especially when we have heavy metals in our brain and the tissues of our organs, such as in our heart. Okay, so that's cilantro.
And this is a really good blend for those people who maybe received a lot of injections or a lot of chemicals at some point. You know, and it's especially for boys who, you know, are suffering from attention deficits, where maybe they've, you know, had a lot of immunizations when they were younger. Cilantro is going to help to remove all that. And you find we've had some people that they find that, you know, their boys are able to focus more. People who have had problems with seizures are able to find, you know, relief from that.
Yeah,
so cilantro is a pretty powerful.
I think it's something very important to have.
And it makes your salsa taste really good.
So great for salsa too. We had people who were in the military, because they've been deployed a few times, they have to have lots of shots. My friend husband, when he came home after lots of deployments and stuff, he came home and he was in pain all the time. And the very first thing I said to him was, it feels like you have a lot of heavy metals inside of you, because the cilantro came up for him. And he said, yeah, I was a pincushion. So I said, well, this is a good time to cleanse it out, because it's going to continue to cause a lot of pains for you in your body. So cilantro, fantastic in this blend. Juniper berry too, it's another amazing antioxidant. And this juniper berry is only from berries. The oil is made from the berries only, unlike other essential oils, other juniper berry essential oils. This one is just from berries. So it's great for cleansing the kidneys, and then the bladder, and then of course the skin. It's fantastic for skin. So, you know, you can rub it on your tummy before you go to bed. Berry. If you don't have juniper berry, you can do the Zendocrine. It'll help you sleep through the night, help settle your organs. Okay. And then we have tangerine. And tangerine is great for fat digestion. It helps break down fat. And you know what? Our body stores toxins in fat. And the fat protects us from these toxins. So your body will hold on to the fat to protect you. That's why it's so hard for you to lose the weight, burn the fat sometimes, because if the fat's holding on to something that's going to be dangerous to you, it's protecting you. So this here, it breaks down the fat and releases the toxin along with it. Okay, so that's how your body protects itself. And the tangerine's great for the lungs and the liver, and it assists in the digestive system too. Now, geranium is fantastic for the liver, kidneys, and the urinary tract. So we can just rub the geranium right on to the bladder area if you have any urinary concerns too, if you have just geranium. But, you know, the blend is always better, because the blend, you know, it makes sure that all the similar properties in other oils is just mixed with it, and then the power of each oil is magnified. And so you have hundreds of compounds now, and it just makes it more effective. Alrighty, so we talked about the endocrine system. I just wanted to clarify to people what the endocrine system is. So this is a detoxification for and support for the endocrine system. So the endocrine system is the system.
That's good that you clarify that.
Yeah,
You know, some people.
System for the hormones, and it helps. It's a group of glands that carry the hormones, and it's like a communication system, and it helps with the circulatory system. And it has, and the large organs are part of it too. And then, of course, it helps the body bring back homeostasis. And that's the fantastic job of essential oils. You know, all the oils help you go back to center, to balance, right? So, for example, that Digest Zen, I mean, if you have diarrhea, it helps you balance. If you have constipation, it helps you go. So it's the same oil, but your body has to kind of balance up. And so Zendocrine does the same thing. So whichever way your organ's going, it's going to help bring your organs back to balance again. So when people say, hey, what oils for thyroid? I say, well, that's an endocrine system, right? You know, so let's focus on cleansing and cleaning and supporting the endocrine. And they say, well, what about the ovaries? I said, yes, that's an endocrine, part of the endocrine system. See what I mean? So understand what your health problem is and what system it is connected to. For example, diabetes, you know, it's a metabolic concern. It's a hormone imbalance, and you know that's an endocrine, right? So it's good to go back there because you know what? It's all connected. You can focus on one area, but the other areas are still not balanced as well. It's the health system that we need to look at.
And before we go on, does anybody have any questions? That's all the Zendocrine oil, all the
Oils in there.
different parts of the oils in the blend. Anybody have any questions with that? Right.
Okay, you can always type in the chat there.
If you're on Facebook or you know if you're on the Zoom, there's a chat feature. If you can't talk, you can put your questions there, and we'll be happy to take them.
Yeah, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to talk about the complex as well. The complex is just a bunch of herbs mixed together, and it does the same job, but I feel like it approaches it sort of slightly different in a much more subtle way. Okay, so it has all of these wonderful ingredients. I can't even say this word, psyllium. It's a seed husk powder. Helps with the digestive tract and colon. Barberry leaf, okay, it helps with healthy blood sugar levels. The Turkish rhubarb, okay, that helps with cleansing the intestines. Kelp is high in iodine and it helps with thyroid. Sorry, what is it? Okay, nope. And then we have milk thistle, and we hear all about milk thistle all the time. Great for liver cleansing. And then I think it's osha root, and that's great for lungs and throat.
Lots of very exotic sounding stuff.
Very interesting ingredients, but just look at what it can do. Just help with the liver, helps with kidneys, colon, lungs, and skin. Right?
So you know, everybody knows that this is kind of part of the 30-day cleanse. And one of the things that's kind of been explained to me, and you know, when you go through the cleanse, you're doing the Zendocrine complex and the oil right off the bat. And you want to go through that and do both the complex and the oil because that's helping to clean out your pipes. So that when you move into the GI cleanse, which is when you start on day 11, it'll be a lot easier on your system. You won't have as many cramps and pains because the pipes are cleared out, and you're able
it helps you eliminate.
Yeah, it helps you eliminate. So your elimination system is up and running. So your organs will be
So I like to use it all the time because my family has a history of like kidney concerns and other things, and I use it just daily to keep things nice and squeaky clean there. So anyways, why do we need to cleanse our body? Some people say, hey, I eat healthy, Jade. I exercise. And I think, well, that's fantastic. But sometimes we, live in this society where there's a lot of toxins. So like the BPA, we hear about that. That's the chemical in plastics that imitates the sex hormone, estrogen. So we call that the xenoestrogenic chemical, and basically it causes your body to send unintended signals out. So these signals causes you a lot of havoc. I mean, it messes up your reproductive system. It can cause cancer, obesity, early puberty, and it just crazy for men and women and children. Diocin, it interrupts the chemical communications of the sex hormones again. It affects fertility, affects the fetus and the reproductive system, and the immune system. And it can be found in meats and fish and eggs. I mean, who doesn't eat any of these things? Most of us do, right? And so we're going to be exposed to this anyways. But we want our body to cleanse out before it has this huge toxic load, and then it starts damaging our cells. And then we get diagnosed with some horrible disease, and we think, oh, where did that come from?
And sometimes if you don't have something to help you cleanse these things, it can be trapped in your body for years. Yeah.
So just to keep your cells clean, I just wanted to help you see some of the chemicals that are out there that are actually in our bodies. Some of the research I read, people say they had 98% of the population have certain these certain chemicals in their bodies. So, we're not immune to it. All of us are going to be exposed to it in one form or another. So atrazine, I think I'm saying it right, it's a herbicide, and it feminizes male frogs to the state that they produce viable eggs. So it's scary. So that for humans, it reduces sperm count, it damages the reproductive organs. And how many young people nowadays in their 20s that are infertile? I've got several friends that are trying to have babies, or that have been pregnant but have lost their babies. And I think this is so sad, to be so young and you think that you're pretty healthy, but yet you have fertility problems. And phthalates, of course, found to trigger premature apoptosis or cell death, and especially in the male reproductive system. And then it causes also diabetes and other things that are just awful. And it can be found in lots of plastics, any plastic wares, plastic toys, plastic things that we have. So, we encourage people to switch over to glass or ceramic instead of plastic, and then the list goes on. And each one of these, I have a little a link with that can take you to the research, that studies and stuff. It's called The Dirty Dozen. There was a book called The Dirty Dozen. So yeah, just click on that and read some more, you guys. But I'm just helping you see that there is a reason why we need to cleanse, okay? And besides all the toxins, we have just a sludge and mold inside our bodies, and bad fats like polymer fats. So if you have eaten food that are from fast food places, their oils are like liquid plastic. Your body doesn't break it down properly. Okay, so it's the vegetable oils, the safflower oil, the canola oil. Those are liquid plastics. They just stay in your body and cause layers and layers of toxins. Okay, so your body can't use it at all for energy or do it. Alrighty, so that's why we need to cleanse it out. And these oils actually go in there and kind of open up your cells and release those things, and then you poop and pee this out. Okay. All right, so how can we tell that we need cleansing? So I've got a list of things here so you can identify and see how much you need it. If you can check several of these and say, hey, that's me, that's me, that's me, then, that's a good indicator that it's time to do a cleanse, okay? So, dull and dry and itchy skin. So
some of those people are on podcasts and can't see it. We'll just read through this.
Oh, yeah, yep. So, like when I see that my skin is dull and dry, and sometimes I have got itchy spots there, then I know, okay, my body's got a lot more toxins built up. I need to detox. Or the yellows of your eye, the whites of your eyes are kind of yellow, or emotional instability. If you have infections, they just won't heal quickly. Thyroid problems, of course, infertility, inability to sleep through the night. dark, smelly urine, autoimmune problems, guys. You know, that's just your body attacking itself because it's got a lot of toxins in there. Fatigue, dehydration, vaginal dryness, irregular period, brain fog. And you know what? Some people have no period at all. I had a friend who's only 25, 26, and she didn't have her period, you know, for 3 years. So just a little bit of cleansing helped her have her period again. Lower libido, breast overproduction for men and women. So those man boobs, yeah, you can, you know, do a cleanse and, you know, your body will hopefully get back to what it should look like. And adrenal problems, gut and stomach problems. And those are not all of them. There's still more, but I just thought I'll list some so that people can say, hey, maybe I should do a cleanse. Because I swear, I meet people that they eat McDonald's and stuff and they say that they're healthy. And I'm sure that they need a cleanse. You know, and you'll get more energy, I promise. Okay, so I want to pause here. Any questions, any comments? All good? Anybody? Yep, pretty straightforward, hopefully. Alrighty, so let's do the body, okay? Kidneys, bladder, liver cleansing. Easy. Take 2 Zendocrine soft gels and 2 of the Zendocrine complex twice a day for at least 10 days. Okay, so that will help you start the cleansing and open up all the pipes. So that's very easy. Okay, uric acid. So when uric acid builds up, and sometimes it travels down to your legs, causing problems like gout. Okay, lots of swelling, lots of pain. You want to take 2 Zendocrine soft gels. You can dilute the Zendocrine oil too and rub it over your kidney areas, and then also perhaps just drink extra lemon oil in your water, and then massage lemon on your legs to start breaking down the crystals. And then, of course, as you drink lots of water, you'll be flushing it out. But also, I would, you know, invite you to release hardened, bitter, angry feelings. Okay, and that should help. My dad, after the kidney stones, a few months later, guess what? He had the gout, and then we had to kind of talk more about the bitter, angry, hardened feelings again. So he had to learn a big lesson there.
And you can put this the Zendocrine straight in your water.
Yes.
And drink it. The lemon's going to be a little bit tastier.
Yep.
But the Zendocrine you can also put straight in your water.
Yeah. So the soft gels are so much easier for people if you don't like the taste of the Zendocrine oil. It's kind of strong, but you know I don't mind cilantro or geranium, but some people don't like that taste.
Yeah. So thank goodness for the soft gels.
Yeah. A lot of people don't think that it's tasty. So, anyways, heavy metals. Like Ben said earlier, if we are exposed to heavy metals all the time, so take 2 Zendocrine soft gels internally and rub the Zendocrine oil on the bottom of your feet, especially on the big toes. The big toes is the reflex points for the head, for the brain. So do this at least 10 days straight, and you should see some differences. And if you had years and years and years of cognitive problems and concerns and memory problems, then do it for a longer period of time. See, we have mercury in our foods. We have in the air pollution or vaccines, and we also have the lead, okay, from the old paints in the homes. And there's other places where we get these toxins, the heavy metals. So just beware and
just breathing in air.
Yeah.
Leaded fuels.
Yeah. So just keep it clean, keep it sharp. Okay. Well, I just had a wonderful report. I went to a party on Saturday, and the lady said, her friend with a 20-year-old son who is autistic right now, just 4 days of just oils, just a few oils. He's already calmed down. He's already, a lot better, in just his social skills. And I'm like, it's just 4 days. That's amazing. Imagine if he keeps going and just does the whole protocol, the whole lifestyle change. So pretty amazing. And that healing is, God and Mother Nature, you guys. All right. So urinary tract. Okay, take 1 to 2 Zendocrine soft gels and 1 to 2 On Guard soft gels. Okay, and you can rub the Zendocrine oil on the bladder area. And sometimes people suffer this for several days. I promise you, if you do this within hours or maybe minutes, that you'll find some relief. Our family has a lot of this concern. I've never had it before, but my mom, my daughter, and they have to do this a lot. So I know it really works, and it brings so much relief. Okay, and I also have a chart below about the fears and the emotions of kidneys and bladder. So I'll show you in a minute. But of course, if you're talking about the urinary tract, you want to resolve the problems, the emotions in the bladder and the kidneys. Okay. All right. So weight, healthy weight. So our body is amazing. It always will find that balance, that homeostasis. So if you are a little bit overweight, it'll help you lose it. It'll break down the fat and release it for you. Like I said earlier, I take it just to maintain healthy weight. Some people who are too underweight, it helps them gain weight too. All right. So take 1 to 2 of the Zendocrine soft gels and the complex. So that's 2 of each, twice a day, and just do that daily. It just helps cleanse and helps with digestion. People with gut problems like colitis, what else? Irritable bowel syndrome, or just like the chronic fatigue syndrome. Those things you can actually use as endocrine to support your body to balance up. Okay.
So we have a question here. This is endocrine oil as compared to the soft gel.
Okay. How many
So if
drops?
you don't have the soft gel and you have the oil and maybe the veggie caps, how many drops would you put in there?
I would do 5. I would do about 5.
Yep.
That will be 1 soft gel.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of comparable to like putting Slimming Sassy in your water.
Yeah.
5 drops into a tall glass of water, or take a Slimming Sassy drop.
And you know
Good
what?
question,
You're going to be different to people. So you can start with less, and then you can add more on if you feel like you need more. Okay, you'll know. Because you've experienced the different oils. Okay, just like eating food, you know when to add more or less. Okay.
And someone was talking about going through a cleanse earlier and actually cleansing emotionally.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we find that when people cleanse emotionally, they're able to get past that plateau of weight that they've been meaning to break through.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about, Jay's talking about body now. We'll go into mind and spirit, and that'll address some of that emotional stuff.
Yeah. Yep, that's right. We'll get there. So with the weight, guys, not only do you take that Zendocrine twice a day, but also say this affirmation or something like this. I let go of all thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that weigh me down. Okay, and I allow myself to be light and free. Okay, so those are the thoughts that you need to adopt in order to move forward. Okay, if you don't change up here, your physical body won't change either. Okay, so we need to do both. Okay, so for the gut, like I said, there's gut concerns. We can give it lots of names. You've got colitis, you've got Crohn's, irritable bowel syndrome, and chronic fatigue syndrome. That's just your gut being sluggish. It's got lots of mold and other things in there that just need to be cleansed out so your body can absorb nutrients properly. So imagine yourself, the pipes are all clogged and it's just full of, lined with crusty stuff. So start cleansing it out and you'll see that you have more energy. So just 1 to 2 of the Zendocrine soft gels and the complex both. Okay, and then rub the Zendocrine oil on the stomach area of the bottom of your feet. So that's the middle soft part of your feet. Okay, so that's the stomach area. And of course, I would recommend to resolve stomach emotions. All right. Okay, moving on to the endocrine and hormone balancing. So remember, understand your disease, because sometimes, like I said, with diabetes, it's an hormone imbalance problem. okay, as well. So with anything emotional, or hormonal, we want to invite you to use the Women's Health Kit. And whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. I use it on my kids that are 11 years old because we eat the same foods, we experience the same things in our environment. And if our hormones are imbalanced, these things would just help balance it up. Okay, so that's something you can do for your hormone balancing and your endocrine system. So remember, thyroid, that's an endocrine concern. All right, and adrenals. Okay, so adrenal fatigue, exhaustion, I can't speak. So 1 to 2 of the Zendocrine soft gels.
Explain to some people what adrenal
There's a sort of a little, I think, gland above your kidneys, and it helps you with just energy, right? Basically, so if you're feeling very drained all the time, it's just your adrenals are not working properly. So just cleansing again, right? Getting rid of all the chemicals so that your cells are communicating again. So that's the idea. Your body does the healing. You're not just broken for no reason. Most of us, we're sick because our cells are, filled with toxins and it's miscommunicating or not communicating at all. Okay, so that's the idea. Just to cleanse things, open the communications channels, and then voila, your body knows what it's supposed to be doing, and things, come back to where it should be. So if you just do those endocrine soft gels and complex, okay, morning and night, and also rub the Zendocrine oil, diluted because it can be strong, over your adrenal glands, which is above your kidneys, and in the morning and at night. Okay, and just try that. It's gentle. The oils are very small in molecular size, so it can go straight into your bloodstream, exactly to where you're concentrating that oil. Okay, so this will be, the next thing is for none of you, really, just for your friends. Hangovers, when your friends party too much. This is how you can help them. So just 1 to 3 drops of Zendocrine in warm water. So you can just get the oil and drop it in warm water and have them drink it, okay? And drink it several times a day, and maybe do it a couple of days afterwards too, just for the full recovery. Okay, so we don't want the liver to pass out. Be kind to the body. Okay, so that is the body. It's the things that I want to talk about anyways. Anyone want to ask questions or make comments?
You can unmute yourself if you want to ask a question, or raise your hand.
Yeah.
And for those of you on Facebook, if you just type in the question, we can take it that way.
Yep. All right. You can still type it in or ask questions. I'll just keep moving forward. Okay. So we're moving on to the mind. All right. So Zendocrine is a detoxification blend, right? The detoxification oil, the cleansing oil. So the negative emotions that it's trying to shift out is self-sabotage. Who doesn't self-sabotage here, right? We do that sometimes, sometimes all the time. Difficulty with transition, and toxicity and limiting beliefs, and apathetic. So when you're just unenthusiastic about anything and everything, right? And then the positive emotions that you're trying to incorporate is the ability to adjust, revitalize, purifying, and open to new experiences. When you find yourself really nervous about making some changes, Zendocrine is the oil for you. Whether you need it physically or not, it's a good oil to start using it on an emotional basis. So, guys, believe it or not, emotional energy weighs a lot, right? It does. Physically, you will feel it too. Your heart is weighed down. You feel heavy, and suddenly your body will be heavy too. You'll pack on the weight, and you'll I guess, manifest it physically. So what we want to do is just cleanse the emotions from our organs. Okay, so it might be confrontational. It might be kind of facing yourself and just being super honest with yourself. But it's important to do that so you can move forward and make good changes, because this is a world and life of change. I mean, if you don't adopt it, then you're going to just face some issues. Okay. When you do the cleanse, I thought a good thing to do is maybe wear a t-shirt that says, "I'm cleansing, beware." Be forgiving and understanding of me, because then, things might happen, that, your family might not understand right now. Why are you so emotional? Or you're being very, I don't know what you are right now. So anyways, releasing old stuff. So if your brain says, I want to get rid of stuff, okay, so smell the Zendocrine oil, okay, and rub the Zendocrine oil on your tummy, which is your third chakra area. And, maybe if you're having a super hard time getting rid of old stuff, your brain is still thinking about the old problems and the hurt relationships and all the things that just hold you back and weigh you down, then use lemongrass as well. Okay, so do Zendocrine and lemongrass, mix it together, smell it, rub it on your third chakra, and tell yourself this. Say, I let go of old ideas that no longer serve me. Okay, and I fully adopt new, powerful, supportive ideas and changes into my life. Okay, so you can say that and make that mental association. I like doing the oils this way instead of saying affirmations till you're blue in the face. Okay, here we are physically using the oils and then allowing our brain to change those beliefs. So, if you do this, it'll make the changes happen much faster. Okay, and the oils have its own energy to raise your vibration. Okay, so I need to expand this up a little bit. There we go. All right, so have a look here, you guys, and people that are listening to the podcast, I'm sorry, spend a little bit of time, just hop onto this website and you can see it, but I'll read it to you too.
And this is jadebaldwin.com/Zendocrine.
Yep, Zendocrine. Okay, and people that are on Facebook, you can't see it now, but you can see it later. So emotions in the organs, certain organs hold emotions. So we have, liver, for example, liver. Liver holds anger, right? And you can see sometimes when people drink and it affects their liver, they can get really angry, right? You've got bitterness, you've got complaining and guilt and hatred and resentment and depression and frustration and panic in the liver and the gallbladder. Anybody that had to have gallbladder removed, right? Think of them and their ancestors and things that they've inherited. Do they experience some of these emotions? Okay, even if they've got their gallbladder removed, sometimes I would muscle test and then the gallbladder will come up again, because we still have to resolve these feelings and emotions, right? Until it's gone. It's very interesting, and it's enlightening to help you understand yourself better. Okay, so let's go to the stomach. Is spleen. Stomach is anxiety. Okay, so think of all the people that have anxiety and stress. More than likely, they have gut problems, right? Okay, and stomach problems. So nervousness, worry, helplessness, lack of control, low self-esteem, inability to digest information. Isn't that interesting? Digestion in the brain. Okay, it's all connected. And fear of new. Something's changing. Oh, no. Especially those kids that have, they're on the spectrum. When I was teaching school, I had to have everything scheduled out, and I have to put the schedule on the board and go through it with the kids. And if something happens and things change up, those kids that have the stomach problems, the anxiety, where they freak out. I have to kind of give them warning in advance so that they know, okay, we're not going to have an assembly today. Even though it's supposed to be assembly on Friday, there's no assembly. I'm crossing it out, guys. Are you okay with that? So even in adults too, when you change plans on people, if they have that anxiety, it just messes them up, right? So you can see how that affects the stomach. So when you fix your tummy, you fix that anxiety too. And then if you fix the anxiety, you fix the tummy too. So it's chicken and egg thing. Lungs and colon, inability to take in life, or fear of letting go. So we'll have people that are that stubbornness, right? I had a friend, I said, look, I feel like this is the colon, there's this issue in the colon about stubbornness, and maybe inherited from your dad. And she was like, whoa, Jay, my dad died of colon cancer and he was a super stubborn guy. And I'm like, oh, look at that. So, just, check yourself, and whatever health problems you have, just kind of resolve these. Okay, so we have, a few more. You can have a look at it when you have some time. So the last thing here that I want to talk about is maybe the glands or the sex organs. So this is a creative insecurity, because that's where the seat of your creativity comes from, right? Humiliation, jealousy, longing, lust, feeling overwhelmed, pride, shame, unworthy. Okay, so those are the emotions that are stuck in those sex organs. And then we'll resolve the emotions, then, those organs actually do function better too. So kind of interesting there. All right, so that's the emotions. And of course, Zendocrine oil helps with cleansing a lot of this stuff out. But you need to be intentional about it and work on it, okay? All right, so what about you guys? Anyone want to say anything? Any comments? Does that make sense?
Has anybody experienced this kind of cleansing when they were using Zendocrine during their cleanse? The emotional kind of cleansing.
I do. For me personally, because I had PTSD, I feel a lot braver about things, going places, doing things, and I feel like a totally different person. So I feel excited for people because it's just so liberating for them. Jean.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
I love Zendocrine. It's been, I knew after going through the chemo and all, my organs were really suffering, and I struggled. I also started to struggle emotionally. And Zendocrine was one of my saving grace oils. And it's just beautiful to see. You talked about the dirty urine, and I would get up and pass, shishing through the night, like constantly. And it was amazing watching how it would change, and it would be like a really dirty yellow, all through the night. And then first thing in the morning, I wake up and it's like almost clear, like nothing. So it was interesting to see my body shifting and changing. So that was really reassuring for me. So it just became my everyday, and especially during winter, it's my hot tea, just to help keep me warm.
Yeah.
And I also have a girlfriend who is, she's been supporting me through the whole journey, and she'd shared in one of the classes, she was very concerned about me. This was around convention time, actually just after Christmas, leading up to convention here in Australia. And but she started to notice like dramatic changes after that. And, I really started doing everything religiously, and she was shocked at the changes. And so she was very skeptical about the oils. She would, she loved smelling them, but she wouldn't buy anything. She'd come to classes, and it was beautiful to see, the whole family highly intoxicated with medication, all sorts of symptoms. And, her mother had also battled with cancer. Her father's now has terminal cancer. And it was beautiful to see how she sent me a message one day, and I gave her a little sample of Zendocrine. She goes, oh, I don't like that. Came to a class, did an energy work session with someone, and that was huge for her. Huge, very intelligent girl. And then I get a couple of messages the next couple of days later saying, I love Zendocrine. She said she puts it on her feet. She still doesn't like the smell of it. Puts it on her feet. She said, but Zendocrine and I, we're one now. So it was beautiful to see, that she's been able to, and she started dealing with emotions, things that she was sort of aware, she thought she was consciously aware of emotions behind it, the toxic emotions behind it, but she really wasn't out until after. So that was beautiful to experience that with her.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much. That's a great segue to what we're going to talk about next. Thank you so much, Jean. Like you're saying, your friend is sort of She thought she was self-aware, but this kind of, pushes you up another notch, takes you to the next level. So if you are spiritually sluggish, Zendocrine helps you, cleanse all that too. So, if you're feeling like something's holding you back, I don't know what it is. So, this is an opportunity for you to cleanse your soul as well. Okay, so, with Zendocrine, I advise people to start journaling your thoughts and feelings and help yourself realign to your divine power. Okay, so reconnect to that divine power and start eliminating distractions. So what are you thinking about, fearing, or the limiting beliefs that you have that's holding you back? So write it down, identify it, resolve it. And, it's not as hard as you think. I think just a couple of weeks and a couple of months of this, and you'll find that you're just a different person. Okay, when you're not aligned with your purpose, you will know, because you won't have the energy. You feel that lethargic feeling. But when you are aligned, you have this weird kind of energy, an excitement for life, and that kind of keeps you going, right? And so this goes with all the vampires, the energy vampires in your life. It could be a distraction of some sort, a job or a person. It could be anything that's just sucking your energy. And being more self-aware kind of helps you recognize, hey, I really don't enjoy doing this thing or being with these people. And then you can make those changes to help you realign with your purpose. It helps you feel like you can pass through this hardship. Sometimes when you're cleansing, you go through some sort of emotional cleansing too. You might be angry or irritated and stuff, and you just have to allow yourself just to go through it, and then it'll resolve pretty soon. Okay, so when you journaling, identify and eliminate old habits, old behaviors, and other limiting beliefs, and invite your thoughts and your spirit to be purified, and then allow more light in your life, and then allow that brain to feel lighter. I had a girl, she was thinking about the past things that she's done, things that she considered sinful, and it just kind of kept her down. And I there's an oil that came up for her, and it was sandalwood, and I said to her, this is another opportunity for you to cleanse, and just to let go of old stuff, things. So let that go. Allow that to be, to allow yourself to start afresh. And she cried it out, and then it was easy. She smelled the oils again, and it was yummy to her. So it that's cleansing. That's what I mean when I'm saying cleansing. And then realign. I feel like because I've done that, just life is so much easier now. It's so much simpler, and we just feel more empowered and more successful. So I invite everybody here to experience Zendocrine and try it out in your home and see if you are cleaner, more clarified, and happier. All right, start afresh. Okay, so that's pretty much all for today. So I have the printable Zendocrine
top 10 uses for Zendocrine.
You can always download that and rip that out and use that. Okay. Before we end here, does anyone want to ask questions or make any comments? Hope it made sense to you today.
I think this is maybe an oil that not a lot of people haven't used outside the cleanse, and so now you've been exposed to lots of other different ways that you can use it. Would you guys agree?
Yeah. So I hope you enjoy that. And if you have any questions or comments, you can continue to comment on the post, and we'll answer everyone's questions. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight.
Thank you for coming, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, so thank you guys for joining us. We're going to do the business training now.
Yeah, if you guys have come for the business training, just stay put. Otherwise, thanks everybody for coming and joining us to talk about Zendocrine.